welcome to Career Conversations by Gambling Industry Jobs. My name is Krista, and today we have the pleasure of interviewing Robert Camilleri, a seasoned professional with over 13 years of experience in the gambling industry. Robert began his career as a data analyst and is now a BI consultant. Throughout his journey, he's made significant contributions to the industry. He's designed the reporting system for the platform that Amaya developed to help Caesars launch in Nevada 10 years ago. And he's also helped in the integration of reporting systems for Mr. Green and William Hill. So, Robert, can you start by telling us a bit about your current role and the nature of your consulting work?
Yes, so at the moment I'm a freelance consultant focusing in BI. So that means I'll be helping organizations either to start off their BI journey, help them build a data warehouse and analytics processes, or else I can help them plug in some holes. For example, if someone has left and they need some more manpower temporarily, I can step in and help them. Sometimes I help with the recruitment of more junior analysts, and some other work I've done, for example, is doing an audit from a third-party point of view of whether the BI systems are up to scratch for the business. The work depends on the client. So, yeah.
Very good. Okay. So I'd be interested to know, how did you get started in the gambling industry?
It got started very long time ago, God. And I actually applied with Wager Logic as a database administrator. I was very technology focused at the time. I did not get the job, but about a year later, the recruiter got in touch with me and said there was a data analyst position open and whether I would like to go for it. And yes, I did. And I have not looked back ever since.
Okay, so that was a long time ago. So it was just you applied and you got the job. You obviously did the interviews, but did you have any references? Did you know anyone that works in the industry that might have helped?
Not at the
Wow.
time. So no, not at the time. I would say the industry was not that big back then. It was very much growing. There were actually very few Maltese working in the industry. I think I was one of about 3 or 4 in the company.
Uh-huh.
The company was about 60 or 70 people in Malta. So it was a bit different, yeah.
Okay. What about key turning points? Were there any key career decisions or opportunities that came up along the way which you took to end up where you are now?
Probably one of the most important ones was actually before I joined Wager Logic, before I joined the first company. And I was, as I said, very technology focused before that, but I knew I wanted to do something a bit more business oriented. And I had taken a certificate in BI, which was part of an MBA, just a small part of the MBA course offered by the Grenoble School of Business. And in this one, they spoke a bit more about BI strategy, about customer analytics, and about finance concepts. And that was very, very helpful for me to make the transition from being 100% technology focused to being able to advise businesses on how to use their data to improve their operations. And I think that was one of the turning points. I wasn't just talking about data structures. After that, I was able to speak a bit more about ROI and other such important business terms.
Can you mention 3 things you like about your work?
The key thing I like about my work is solving little problems and seeing the result, whether that is in increased revenue or reduced costs. It is a fast industry. When you make a decision, you can usually see the results in a few days at most. And it's great, when I'm looking at a graph or something, sometimes I can see a line trending upwards, net revenue trending upwards. Sometimes we can go back and pinpoint exactly some piece of analysis which we had done and taken some action on that. And that is quite satisfying to do. So yes, I think that's the best part about it. It's like solving little puzzles most of the day. I would say that's key for me.
And then things that you dislike?
Things that I dislike. You will hear that it is a fast-paced industry. It is really a fast-paced industry, and that means that sometimes it is turbulent. There have been many times, unfortunately, where you've been working on something for 2 or 3 months, and you really just have to scrap it away. Maybe because a market has changed regulation, or some rule has been introduced somewhere, which makes your work redundant. And you have to live with it, just throw it all away and move on.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel great when that happens.
So, tips for entering the industry. Do you have any practical advice or tips for newcomers on how to get started?
Definitely, I would say being in the proper location is very helpful. Malta is very busy with iGaming jobs, and being physically in Malta is definitely helpful. Doesn't mean that companies don't recruit from abroad. They definitely do. But companies always take a risk when they're getting someone to relocate. I myself had the experience of hiring people from abroad, only, for example, for their spouse to not like the island for whatever reason, and they leave. And that's not great. So as a hiring manager, you're always going to give a little bit of preference to those who are physically in the island. Apart from that, I would say try to network. Sometimes you will get to know about jobs which haven't been advertised yet. And a good word from the inside is always going to be very, very helpful.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so let's move on to tools of the trade. What are the top 3 essential tools or software you've used in your current or previous roles?
My number one piece of advice on this one is definitely going to be Excel. It's a numbers-based industry. I would beg everyone to have at least an intermediate level of Excel. If you're a data analyst, it needs to be advanced. You can't just not know it in depth. But this advice, please, it counts for everybody. Whether you work in marketing, whether you work in finance, even customer support, do take your time to learn Excel. It's very, very important. Apart from that, obviously, for data analysts, you need to know SQL. You need to know it really, really well. I'm afraid it's a bit disappointing, all the candidates I've hired who turn out to not really be very good in SQL. So please make sure that you know that. And it's definitely useful to also know one of the main visualization tools, such as Tableau or Power BI. Those are the leading tools at the moment. So yes. Apart from that, I would say if you're already very technical and you definitely know these things, do get a bit of grounding into finance concepts. If you're able to speak with an accountant about their terms, that's going to definitely be very helpful to get your point across as well.
Okay, interesting. Keys to success. So do you have any tips for thriving in the industry and advancing in one's career?
I think that the main advice I would have on this one is definitely be adaptable. The industry changes a lot. It's very hard to plan your career. I would say it's impossible to say, in 3 years, I want to be a manager or whatever. It's very difficult. But make sure that you're training yourself to get where you want to. And when the opportunity comes, you're ready to go for it. So yeah, just be ready, be on the lookout. Don't be afraid of the chaos that sometimes happens. Just embrace it and try to make the best out of it. So yeah, that's definitely been my experience over the past 13 years.
Yeah, adaptability, for sure. I mean, it just
resilience for sure
Yes,
as well. Things change so much, and you need to have a bit of a tough skin sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, back then, like when I started in the industry, the UK wasn't even regulated.
It wasn't regulated at all.
Right.
Denmark was the first one. France closed down. Then eventually you had Spain and Italy. Italy, you've had Sweden. In 2027, we're going to have Finland, which is launching their own license as well. So all of them are launching their own licenses. And that will mean changes in operations and then how the businesses work. In some cases, for example, you had a business like Sweden, for example, which made normal bonusing illegal. So that's one of the main tools that a lot of companies had, which all of a sudden is redundant. It doesn't work anymore. So you need to be adaptable and find other strategies to help you thrive in those industries.
Imagine you're recruiting for a position in the BI department, okay? Would you consider interviewing a candidate with no industry experience?
Good. I don't need to imagine. I've actually done it. I definitely, I did. I did hire a lot, in fact, from outside the industry. I think that some people within the industry are a bit too fixated on hiring within the industry. I myself, I look for talented individuals who are curious, who have the right aptitude. And then the industry stuff you can teach. It takes 2, maybe 3 months of teaching to someone who's smart to learn the basics of the industry. So I definitely, I did hire a lot from outside the industry.
Good to know.
So if you're from outside the industry, maybe you will get a few rejections, but keep up with it. Yes.
CV optimization. Let's say you're recruiting for a position in your team. You have a list of applicants to choose from. What specific qualities or elements on a CV make you want to give the job seeker a chance?
Okay. I would say the first rule here is do not lie. At least don't lie too much. You will be caught out. No, people do that for sure. So, see what are the main requirements for the job and make sure that those skills are there at the top and they are visible. So for the case of an analyst, I'm going to look for strong SQL. I'm going to look for strong data visualization experience. Make sure those two are at the top. Apart from that, I would say don't get too long about describing your experiences. Nice and short is good. The CV
Okay.
is there to get you an interview. It's not there to get you the job. We would get into more detail about your experience in the interview. So yeah, just make sure that
Okay.
the relevant piece of your experience is there at the top.
What are your thoughts on staying with one company for a long time versus moving to a different company for better opportunities?
Good. I
Thanks. A big
guess
smile.
no, I guess this one will depend on who happens to be reading your CV. I'm wary of people who spend like 3 months in a job. I'm also wary, especially in this industry, of someone who would have been for about 8 years in a single job. But I won't actually hold it against anybody myself. It's more important what you're going to be talking about and how are you going to relate the experiences you had in those jobs to your interviewer. So if you had one job where you spent 3 months and you moved on, it's okay. Maybe it didn't work out for whatever reason. If I see 3 or 4 of those, that's not going to be great for sure.
Wow.
Same thing if you've been in the same job with the same company for about 8 years. Maybe there was a nice path, lots of growth, and your job has changed and you've grown with it. And that's perfectly okay. If you've done the exact same job for about 8 years and you've had no movement there, it might raise the question whether you have
Right.
ambition, etc. So
Yeah.
it does depend. It does depend. I would like to think I don't hold it too hard against the candidate when I see those kind of things. But they are definitely talking points.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I mean, how about yourself? What factors did you consider if you were going to move jobs? Like, for example, was it because of the salary or because there was no room for growth?
Salary is always a big one, right? Unfortunately, I think sometimes we try to kid ourselves as if we don't work for money, but we do. It's especially more true of juniors, at least in BI. The salaries at the beginning can go up very, very quickly. And it's not unusual to be offered a 30 or 40% salary as soon as you
Yeah.
make it out of the junior stage. And that's one very common way that you can lose someone in your team. But even room for growth and the kind of challenges that you face are definitely important. And judging from some discussions I had with my team in the past, it's also the working relationships that they have. Do they get on with management? Do they get on with their peers? So people leave companies because of these things for sure.
Yeah. So what about your experience with recruiters? Have you ever had recruiters contact you?
It's
You
all
know,
the
your
time.
job offer?
Yes, that happens
Can
all the
imagine.
time. It does happen all the time. I would say look at surveys on Glassdoor, look at any other surveys that are available, know what you're worth on the market. So don't sell yourself short. But also if you're happy where you are and you have um, good opportunities for growth, it doesn't make sense to just hop for 5% or something like that.
Yeah.
And always have a word with your manager. Lots of the people in management I've worked with in the past were good people. They're there to help employees move ahead as well. Have a good chat with them. Tell them about your ambitions, and maybe they'll try to help you. If you don't find that cooperation from your manager, then I'm afraid that is a very good reason to leave. In fact,
Okay. And finally, remote work. So
remote
what are
work.
your thoughts on hiring remote workers for your team?
Yes, that was not a choice for a couple of years. In fact, I myself hired quite a lot of people, about 4 or 5, I think, during COVID, and it was all done remotely, 100% remotely. It is a bit more challenging. You don't get to meet the person. Don't get to see the body language. They don't get to see yours as well. They don't get to be part of the conversations around the coffee that would be happening all the time. But it is doable. So you just need to plan it out a bit more. Make sure you
Yeah.
use whatever messaging app your company uses very often. For myself as a manager, my main tool was the weekly one-on-one, and I made sure to always keep that up and make good use of it. It's an opportunity to get to know your people and get to know their ambitions, get to know how they work on any challenges they might have, etc. And to try to replace the good things about in person as much as possible. Having said that, I would say, especially for younger people, for more junior employees, it is worth going to the office. And I would say make a bit of an effort in the beginning, at least, to go to the office and get to know some of the people there. It's good to be
Yeah.
part of the coffee conversations.
Yeah, that's true. It's healthy for them to meet up.
It does help. It's good to put a face to a name, you know.
Exactly. Okay, thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
See you. Bye.